This is for our regularly scheduled board meeting on Wednesday, May 11th. And with that, we will open the meeting. I have not received any public comment for this meeting. James, have you received any public comment?
No, I have not.
Okay. Moving forward, we'll then turn the meeting over to our trustees and we'll begin moving through our agenda.
So do we want to do roll call?
Yes, thank you very much, Trustee Prasad. If you could just add into the chat that you're here or present, that would be great.
Okay. So then let's get started. 11.1. So this is to implement this curriculum for SEL for grades 9 to 12. This is coming from ELOG dollars, I believe, right?
Yes, that is correct. It's $34,000. We previously had adopted a K through 8 program. This is our 9 through 12 program, and it is coming through our ELOG dollars.
Sounds good. I don't have any specific questions on this. So then,
I think I read somewhere it's we're not so sure when. No, actually, is this one? We're not so sure when we're going to implement this program, and it depends on each school. You know, we have the budget now. When will each school going to have the emotional learning program?
So it's slated to start in the 22-23 school year. But you may be referring to the fact that each high school has a unique bell schedule. The readiness may vary across from staff members. The implementation might be individualized a little bit, but we are still scheduled to start across all the high schools in the 22-23 school year.
Okay, so it said a non-negotiable. I'm not so sure whether it's this one. I think it's this one. That means it's a required class?
This would not be necessarily an additional class in the schedule. It will be a curriculum that is implemented during the existing student day.
Okay, so how does that work? Implemented during the school student's day?
It could work a number of different ways. The schools would work to determine what courses everybody has, where there's universal access to students, whether it might be for ninth graders in their English class or for 12th graders in a specific class. And so those are the ways that they would work on putting that curriculum out. And that may also be why it's individualized a little bit by each comprehensive high school.
Okay, all right.
Okay, then let's move to the next one is 11.3, the Healthy Start program. So this is a long-term relationship between FUSD and EBAC. Now, one question that I'd asked, I don't know if we got an answer, was how does this dollar amount compare to last year?
Yeah, for those items that the staff was able to respond fast enough, they updated the items themselves. For those that didn't, they would be included in the Q&A. I don't see that analysis on this item, so staff may not have been able to finish that by publication.
Sounds good. Then we'll cover this in the meeting. Then the next one is the Agreement for Admentum program. And this is a renewal. I don't see what the prior dollar amount was on this either.
So during the 21-22 school year, the cost was $35,225. It's a little bit less this year, but in part because we are ordering fewer licenses.
Okay. And I'm hoping it's proportionally fewer. not paying more per license.
I hope so as well. I'd have to double check with our instructional and business side who might be working on that.
Okay, sounds good. Then the next one is for Apex Learning. Again, this is a renewal, and I'm trying to see if we have the prior cost. So the previous cost was actually significantly higher. Because we are not doing Vista. We are not doing the virtual academy, and
Right.
so we have the school credit recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
so
Yeah. Last year's 137,500. It's for, but this time it's only for the summer school. Is that right?
no, it was summer school last time too, but we had this full virtual academy where we had more students, I suppose, participating than we planned this year.
Mm-hmm.
CJ, is that accurate?
Yes, there is a reduction in cost this year because of our focus will be on summer school and credit recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. And the next one is funding for NPS. There was
This
one.
correct. This is for one student,
Yeah,
one placement, and we would still have a balance of approximately $1.4 million in the budget.
sounds good. And given that we are in second week of May, then could there be some balance left over? Or would we come under budget?
We could. We'll have to see where we close things out. There could still be some IEPs and things that change at the end of the year. We have to look at also where we encounter those costs. If it's, for example, if it's for summer school, because a
Mhm.
lot of our students might have ESY that cross over the fiscal years, but it is possible that we may have a balance in this budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one question. So this budget, when you see we have a balance, that would include the summer school as well, till the right. What is the cutoff date for for the definition of a balance?
Well, ultimately, James, please correct me here if I'm wrong, but what we look at is the fiscal year is June
Mhm.
30th.
That's correct.
So services delivered before June 30th, which would include for many students a significant part of their summer school, would fall to the current budget year. After
Mm.
June 30th, they would fall to the 22-23 budget year.
Mm-hmm. So as long as we allocate the funding before June 30, that count as June 30, the current school year. Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah, summer school is a little tricky because, like CJ said, it crosses fiscal years. But
Mm-hmm.
as we estimate when we're doing projections for estimated actuals, we're looking at June 30th as that cutoff date and July 1 as the start of the new fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay. Then moving to 11.7, this is about Care Solace for mental health care programs. Now this one, I had asked the same question about last year. So maybe James or CJ, you can explain this one. I didn't read the new description here.
So the cost here is just over $100,000. It's based on our overall enrollment. We do have a discounted price from the company of $3 per pupil. So this is a program which is not necessarily unique to programs that serve schools where you pay per pupil, meaning that a larger school district is going to obviously pay a larger cost. The prior year cost was just over $125,000. So this is a little bit less, which is always a good thing. And the utilization, it shows that we've had almost 18,000 communications that have been saved just over 3,300 inbound interactions, meaning reach outs to Care Solace, and they've identified approximately 173 appointments into care, meaning my assumption there on that data is that that is how many individuals they've helped get directly to care when needed.
Right, but this is like a 20% reduction. So maybe, but we don't have that many fewer pupils. So
no, I think we're getting a discounted rate per student than we got in the initial contract.
Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm. One question is, I heard that many students with needs to find a doctor, a psychologist, a counselor, they could not, get services. So looks like we are doing okay. Utilize this service to place them with, let's see, 173 appointments. Is that a good rate or not?
Well, I'd have to dig in a little bit more with the providers. I think that was the intent behind the program was to make sure that our community could have resources to get the appointments that they may need. If they had questions about health insurance, or maybe they don't have health insurance, whatever it might be, this is an agency that is helping our community to access the care they need. I'd have to probably dig in a little bit deeper to see how efficient they are with 173 appointments based on what's needed overall, and how many people might just be reaching out with questions and are still making appointments on their own accord and not using the agency directly.
Yeah, that's a good questions to find answers on. Okay, let's
Okay,
move on to next one.
let's move on. The next one is payroll warrants. The number looks similar to the prior one. So anything extraordinary there to discuss here?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And the
Uh,
next,
but going for, I remember that the draft has a PO, another
yes,
one. Yeah, but I don't find it.
So the purchase orders are carrying forward to the June 15th meeting because the staff is still working on doing some revisions to that report.
Right. I want to know where's the $75 million. Where is the, you're right. Okay.
Well, and for our audience, the reference is that we had a higher expenditure rate in Fund 21, which is our facilities fund. And so it's not uncommon that when we make our larger purchases for facilities, or we make larger payments towards the projects that are in progress, that we would have higher purchase orders. So we have had staff who've been out, and so we wanted to make sure that all of those reports had their I's dotted and T's crossed, and we will carry them forward to the June 15th meeting.
All right.
sounds good. Then there's the bond sales. Maybe this one requires an explanation for the public.
Thank you. I'd be happy to provide that brief explanation. So with Measure E, we have a series of bonds that we sell. This was our last series of bonds. We sold $126.5 million. In case our audience may be wondering, when do we decide? The board had predetermined a set time period for when we would sell the bonds, and we work in conjunction with our financial advisors on when to do that as well, because districts have certain rules and regulations about how much bond revenue they can have on hand at one time. So we maintained our AA2 credit rating with Moody's, which was a very good thing for us to do. And we had a successful bond sale. The interest cost for the bond was 3.36%. As you might imagine, the better our credit rating, the better it is for our community and taxpayers. So we had a successful sale of the bonds, and we've closed escrow on all of that process. And so this is the final financing summary of the district bond sales.
Sounds good. And the next one, there's no financial impact here. I just want to mention and reiterate to the public as well is that our bond program is managed very, very tightly and with very high transparency with multiple audits and reviews with CBOC. So this is yet another report that is designed to have a clear review and transparency for everybody to see what's happening. Okay, then
Well, this one I do have questions. It's prepared by Mrs. Um,
McLean,
McLean.
McMahon, yeah,
No,
by Kelly.
I cannot pronounce her last name. Anyway, so I am looking at the summary. I would like to know. I mean, she has put them into different project code. If you look at the first one, 8010, bond program support costs. So now we have a remaining budget of only $259,829, and then we have pretty much if I calculate right, I mean over close to $75 million of unallocated funds. So does that mean that we actually need to spend more money on bond program support costs? So maybe this can be put into Q&A. You see, the total budget is 13 million for the program support, and then the remaining is only $259,000. And now we still have to manage about, if you look at the remaining budget is $165 million. So what I understand from the number that the program support cost needs to be increased. I can write it up.
Yeah, if you want to write it up, we can certainly work on that. I think bond program support costs is an area we want to be watching closely. We know that we've posted for positions to come in-house, hopefully to have more internal ownership over those processes. And that might reduce our reliance on external providers, which may also yield some cost savings in the bond program support. So that'll be something that we have to look at very closely, and we're happy to answer those questions.
Okay. All right. Since she's not here, I'm going to write. I have a bunch of questions here. I'm going to write so for the Q&A.
Okay.
Okay.
And the next one is similar, right? So this is the audit report, the performance audit. Again, part of our due diligence on how we are managing our bond, the money. So anything specific to discuss here, Trustee Zhang?
Oh no, this one is good, right? We complied with the procedure and we meet the compliances. That's what
Yes.
Mhm.
And this is one of the things where FUSD is much better at, right? And you and I are fairly new here, but overall, for the duration of this bond, the due diligence and transparency has been amazing.
I agree.
Okay. Then let's move on. Actually, all four of us are fairly new here. Then moving to the next section, 13.1 and 13.2 have no fiscal impact. So let's look at the approved athletic coaches. This one also doesn't show any number here. So is there something for the budget subcommittee to review, CJ?
Not necessarily, because they're all the positions are already within the established budgets.
Okay. Okay, then there are no other items with the budget impact in this in the consent calendar. So let's move on to the regular agenda items.
Correct.
So 16.1. So this is the A to G success grant. Now, how much dollars? So the agenda header doesn't talk about how many dollars are we talking about.
So it's $716,000 for the A through G access, and the A through G learning loss mitigation is $268,000 as rough numbers.
Right, I see that. Okay.
And
And
this
this is
came before the board in the last meeting for review and feedback, and is coming back for review and possible approval.
sounds good. Then the next one is to adopt the K to 5 science program,
Mhm.
and this is a significant one, right? And it's coming. So this is changing after how many years? I was trying to see.
K to 5.
Yes. So the current program was approved when? I know I saw that data.
So that the NGSS standards were first approved in California in 2013,
Right.
and then the state board of education released the approved science programs in 2018, and the initial review for adoption started in 2019, obviously interrupted by COVID and the pandemic, and the team restarted the adoption process in the fall of 21.
Okay. So
Sorry.
this is the initial adoption of NGSS. This is not like, so for K to 5. And NGSS has been uh, adopted in the middle school, I believe.
I believe that is correct as well.
And we were looking to get the textbooks for them for the middle school. So did that happen? Well, I know it's a side topic here.
I will make a note and make sure that our team follows up with a response.
Yeah, that's a good question because you want to find out whether those textbook has been already provided for middle school and high school. And also my question is why it is so late, because I had a conversation with Superintendent CJ, and he said that his previous school district has provided those adoption 2 years ago. So I would like to know why our school district, has come to adoption so late. Is that because we did not have the budget at that time? And now that because we have the ELOC fund, and that's why we're doing it right now. Is that the case?
Yeah, I know. I would have to go back and check because that was prior to my arrival.
Right.
There were some delays though, because as you'll note, the standards were adopted in 2013, but the State Board of Education didn't even release a list of approved adoptions until 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 5-year gap that's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure where we were in Fremont Unified from that release in 2018 to when we started the initial review in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously 2020 kind of speaks for itself in terms of the natural interruptions that we saw.
Actually, I want to know, I mean, the staff who has a history, they may know that why, it comes to us now. Is that because the budget? We just simply did not have money to give the students the textbook.
Yeah, I can follow up with staff and ask that question, who may have
I,
been here.
right. I think it's very important. We need to know that if our focus is education students, and those should be our priority. And how can we continue focus on that?
I
Yeah,
will make a note that we follow up with that.
thank you.
Okay. Then moving to 16.3, this is so we are using, for grade 6 to 8, we are using the Springboard math curriculum. And The
Oh,
current contract is expiring, and we want to extend it for 3 more years. So this dollar amount is to fund the consumable workbooks and other material for this 3-year duration.
mm-hmm.
So I suppose this is a cost. So now,
Yep.
then we move on to the next one. This is the cost to implement curriculum for TK.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is our new TK curriculum, just over $250,000, or roughly $258,000 for the implementation. And it is exciting to be able to implement a new comprehensive curriculum for transitional kindergarten.
Right. Okay. Then as we go to the next one, again, 16.6 is another presentation on Measure E. So that's good. We need to have that good level of scrutiny. Then going to 16.7. So this is agreement with Hume Center. I know I had some questions for you, CJ, so perhaps you can describe this item for the public.
So actually had a side meeting with one of our comprehensive high school principals today, and they're very pleased with the support that is already in place from the Hume Center for counseling for students. And so this is the program to continue that program. You'll see that it offers 15 programs across 5 clinics, providing comprehensive behavioral health services in Alameda, Contra Costa, San Francisco, and Santa Clara. So we're looking at staffing our comprehensive and alternative high school with providers, either at 2 or 1 days per week, depending on the school. And there are a few other additional provisions, for example, Irvington and Mission, where there are in-kind early intervention services for students. And staff has been excited about this program and excited to continue the program.
Yeah, this is the Hume Center. Is that a partnership with the city?
No, that's our Fremont Youth and Family Services partnership.
Okay.
The Hume Center, I believe, is different, but I will double check.
Okay. Yeah, we appreciate the support we get from them. So then the next one with budget impact is 16.10. This is to have an interim associate superintendent.
That's correct. At the last regularly scheduled board meeting, the board took action to separate from our prior associate superintendent, and district staff is requesting to bring on an interim associate superintendent, as we did last year when we had a need to fill that void. Last year, we were able to secure the services of Raul Parangao, who had been a previous CBO associate superintendent for the district. And in this case, we are seeking to secure the services of an individual by the name of Bruce Colby, who comes to us with a wealth of experience, most recently from Davis Joint School District, where I believe he spent 14 years. And so we are looking forward to bringing that individual in to provide the needed support for our budget and fiscal services and facility side of the house. The costs associated with the interim are less than the last interim that we brought forward and fall within the already approved interim soup schedule from last year.
Sounds good. And then the last item is repairing or replacing the play structure at Matos Elementary.
That's correct. And this is one of the oldest structures in the district. Many structures were replaced in 2001. Matos was not replaced at that time. And this is funded out of our routine restricted maintenance account. And for those who may not recall, our routine restricted maintenance account is money that is a prescribed amount that we have to set aside as part of our annual budget each year for projects like this.
No, I mean, so it's great too that we'll be able to take care of this. I mean, this is a safety issue as well. Now, are there other elementary schools that have such needs?
I'll ask staff to review the other elementary schools. I mean, I'm sure that they probably have already considered them. I just don't have that information in front of me. I think Matos stood out as the one that needed the most immediate attention, and we had the budget within routine restricted maintenance to move forward with hoping to complete that over the summer.
Now, as we look at routine restricted maintenance, those dollars, do they roll over to the next year, or do they go back to general fund? How does that work?
James, can you provide some additional context there on the RRM budgets?
Routine restricted maintenance.
Mhm.
So our requirement is to meet 3% of our unrestricted expenditures. So as long as we meet a 3% expenditures and we spend that much in routine restricted maintenance, then we are state compliant. However, if we do not meet that 3%, say we're under by 2.5%, then we have to carry that over and spend it in the next fiscal year.
So, but do we need to fund less the next fiscal year, or do we still have to fund 3%?
We're working on adopted budget now. We're using our current historical information to project out what 3% should be based on what we're projecting our adopted budget to be, how much we're going to be spending out of unrestricted in 22-23. So we're going to do our best to project as accurately as possible, but we really find out at unaudited actuals in the summertime when we close the books, and we'll really see what our 3% requirement will be based on the actual expenditures that come out during unaudited actuals.
Okay.
So every year we pretty much meet the 3% requirement. We usually budget a little more than 3% requirement, and then during when we close the books, we traditionally meet that 3% requirement in expenses for routine restricted maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that is district wide, and then we have to find, which school would need those money urgently, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what about those shade? I mean, we have temporary shade. What is the going on with the permanent shades program? Are we going to do something in the summer?
Yes, our staff is still working on a master contract and the site analysis
Uh-huh.
for the shade structures, both temporary and permanent.
Uh-huh. But I think those temporary one looks good. I mean, they could last for a while. I mean, it would be a waste to just replace them. They look very nice. So anyway, that's just me from looking from a distance. But I also heard from some high school they have nothing. So I'm thinking if some school already have temporary shade, and then some school has nothing, and we should focus on give each school the shades, and then work on permanent structure. So like what's the direction our department of construction or renovation is doing on this one?
Yeah, so we are working on that, and I will provide an update to the board on where their analysis is on what sites are needing what next.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see something happening in the summer. We get it done, so then kids can enjoy it when in the fall when school happens. Okay. All right.
Sounds
So
good. Yeah,
that's
that would be ideal. And that was the last item. So we can then adjourn the meeting at this point.
Thank you, trustees. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thanks,
thank
everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.